This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so just a quick recap of what we learned yesterday. So yesterday we have seen the different types of distributions in Linux, and we have seen what is a directory, how to create a directory by using mkdir command. We have seen how to remove the directory by using rmdir command. We have seen what pwd is, and then we have seen what cd is, change directory, and we have seen what is home directory, what is child directory and parent directory, and we have seen these are the list of all the options in cd. Then we spoke about Linux path completion or auto completion feature. Also, we have seen what man and help will do for us, right? Now let's talk about VI editor today. Guys, this is again very important concept, especially in the interviews, right? You may get some questions around VI editor, or the expectation is in the projects you must be already knowing about VI editor concept. That is the default expectation from you. Now, before talking about VI editor, let's try to understand what is an editor. So what is an editor? Editor is something which is actually used to edit your files. So if you take Windows, you'll get a default editor, such as Notepad, right? But in Linux, you cannot use that editor. You have to use a different editor called as VI editor. What is VI editor? VI editor stands for Visual Editor. Visual Editor. So this is the important editor in Linux. So there are multiple other editors in Linux also, but if you can understand this, you don't need to worry about learning any other editor. This is more than enough. Now this VI editor works in two modes. VI editor works in two modes. One is called as command mode. The second one is called as insert mode. In the command mode, as the name suggests, we are going to type the commands. In the insert mode, as the name suggests, we are going to insert the text into the file. So let's see how to do that. So there are a bunch of commands or shortcuts I'm going to talk with respect to VI editor. Again, don't worry, because it will take a bit of time to understand about this VI editor. What I would highly encourage is practice at least 3-4 times. Only then you can be good at VI editor. It will take some time, but again, don't worry. So you're going to practice it 3-4 times, then you should be good to go. Okay. So let's go to the Cloudera Quick Start VM. I have the Cloudera Quick Start VM already up and running. Right click anywhere on the desktop, say open in terminal, maximize it. So then click on view and zoom in twice to increase the font. So have a look here on the desktop. I don't have any files. Now I'm going to create a file by using VI editor. VI space the file name. Let's say that I want to create a file with the name called as sample.txt. So VI space sample.txt, enter. So by default, whenever you open a file in VI editor, it will be in the command mode. Now the question is how to figure out that. How to figure out that I'm in the command mode, or how to figure out that I'm in the insert mode. If you open the file, by default, you will be in the command mode. You should be looking at the bottom left corner. Bottom left corner is an indication whether you are working in the command mode or in the insert mode. So let me go to the insert mode. To go to the insert mode, I'm going to type I.
Vamsi, sorry to disturb you. I cannot see anything on my screen. It's all blank.
Okay, how about others, guys? Can you see my screen?
I'm able to see.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Blank.
Who's saying blank? Okay. When you say blank, it's all white screen you are seeing, right?
No, we can see the screen.
No, there is no screen. It's all black.
Okay, then something wrong from your side. So just rejoin. That should solve the problem. Rejoin and let me know.
I'm going to leave and then log in back again.
Exactly, do that and let me know.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So by the way, guys, so you can see that as soon as you type I, look at the bottom left corner, it's showing us insert. So to go to the insert mode, you have to type I. Now to go to the command mode, you have to type escape on the keyboard. Once you type escape on the keyboard, if you're not seeing anything at the bottom left corner, then that's an indication that you are in the command mode right now. So you understood now how to switch between command mode and insert mode, right? To go to the insert mode, type I. You will see insert. To go to the command mode, type escape. If you don't see anything at the bottom left corner, that's an indication that you are in the command mode right now. Now let's go to insert mode and add some content. I will type I. I'm in the insert mode right now. Then I'll say, I'll type some content. This is sample.txt. So save this file, but to save this file, I have to type a command. To type command, I have to be in the command mode. But right now I'm in the insert mode right now. To go to the command mode, type escape on the keyboard. If you're not seeing anything at the bottom left corner, then you are in the command mode right now. I can save this file by saying :WQ. What is the meaning of WQ? WQ is nothing but write and quit. That is, save and come out of the file. Hit enter. Now if you go and check on your desktop, you can see that I have a file called sample.txt. Double click on that file and you can see the contents as well. Right? So we have seen how to create a file and how to open a file by using VI editor. Also we have seen :WQ, that is write and quit. W is for write, Q is for quit, that is saving and coming out of the file. So let's open the file in the read-only mode. To open the file in the read-only mode, I'm going to pass an option called as -R. So let's do that. VI space -R. Enter. So you can see at the bottom left corner it's showing as read-only. So you have just opened the file just to check the contents of the file, not to modify or not to insert anything into the file. So to open the file in the read-only mode, you can use an option called as R, which in nothing but it will open the file in the read-only mode. So let's do one more change. So let's open the file again, and I will go to the insert mode by typing I, and I'll add some content. Let's say I'll add some month names: Jan, Feb, March. Now I'll add some color names: red, green, blue. So you have added this content, but now you have figured out that okay, this content is wrong, whatever you have added. Now you have to safely come out of the file by not including your changes. So that's where I'm going to safely quit from the file without saving anything. So to type that command, I'm going to go to the command mode by typing escape. Now I don't want all this content, right? So these lines which I've added just now is kind of wrong for me, right? So that's where you can just have :Q. So :Q is nothing but quit from the file, don't save anything. This is very, very handy, especially once you start working on the project. This is highly important because you should not be disturbing the existing production system, right? So that's where you should be using this. You might see this saying, okay, add exclamation symbol. So you have to type exclamation symbol, only then this works. Then open the file again. So you don't have that content. So to safely quit from the file, you have to use :Q0. So now we have seen this option :Q. So let's talk about :W. So that is writing the file or saving the file. So sometimes you may have to work on the file and the contents of the file might be huge in size. So it might take some time for you to add the content. Let's say I am trying to add more content into this file. Right? So I have added some content, but I haven't done with my changes. That I have some more changes to do. At the same time, I don't want it to lose the changes, right? So I have to frequently save my file. Generally in Windows, you use Control S to save the file at frequent intervals of time. But here on VI Editor, I am going to use :W. That is, write the file, that is, save the contents of the file. Now have a look here, it's showing some contents written. So which means this file content should have been saved by now. Let me do one more thing. Let's say I'll go to the insert mode, I'll say sample line. Again, I'll go to the command mode, set :W. So :W is meant for saving the file or writing the file to the content. Then if I just silently put from this file, if I open the file again, all the content that we have written has been saved. So that's how you can use an option called as :W to save the contents of the file. Now I'll talk about DD. So DD is actually used to remove a line. So you have some content. I'm going to type DD now to remove the contents. So type DD now. So you can see that as and when I type DD, it started removing the lines. Suppose I have to remove these two lines in a single shot. Then you can use number 2 and then DD. Number 2 on your keyboard and then say DD. Both the lines are deleted. After doing all this, okay, I have figured out that, okay, I want to bring back all those changes. Simple. Just say :Q0. That's it. If you open the file again, you still have the same content. So that's how you can use DD to remove the line. So DD is actually used to remove the line. And suppose if you wanted to remove the characters or letters one by one, then you can use X. X is used to remove the characters or letters. So let's try X. So you can see as and when I type X, it started removing one by one character or one by one letter. Right? Have a look here. As and when you type X on the keyboard, it started removing lines of characters one by one. Again, I'll say :Q0, open the file again, you still have the same file. So that's how to remove a line, you have to use DD. And to remove a character, you have to type X. So let's talk about YY. YY is an interesting option. It is nothing but copying a line. So generally, YY is, we call it as yanking. Let me make a note of it. So YY is actually nothing but yanking. So what is the meaning of yanking? It's nothing but copying. So now I'm going to type YY so that I can copy the line. Let's say I wanted to copy this line called a sample line. I'll say YY and I'll type P on the keyboard to paste it. As and when I type P, it starts pasting. If I say number 5P, it will paste 5 lines. So that's how we can copy it by using YY, which meant for yanking or copying, and P is for paste. So then we can have something called as :set NU to see the line numbers as well. This is very, very important option. Let me highlight that. So I'll come out of this file. I'll open the file again. So right now we have these lines, right? If you see here, if I move my mouse point, if I move my cursor here, you can see that bottom right corner, you'll get an indication. So you can look at the bottom right corner. It's saying 3,12. What is the meaning of this 3,12? You are at line number 3 at character 12. And to get this in an easy way, you can also say :set NU. That is, it's going to add the numbers to the lines. Now you can see that it's a lot more clear. This is very important, especially if you're dealing with a file of 1,000 lines, right? If you're dealing with a file of 1,000 lines, it becomes easy for you to look at the line numbers very easily. And especially in this pandemic world, so especially most of the people are working from home, where if you set this, you should be able to talk easily with your teammate, right? Saying that, okay, in line number 3, this is what you're seeing, in line number 10, you're seeing this, something like that. Especially when you're working from home or working online, then this is very, very important option: :set NU. Okay, I'll go out again. So that's how we have seen how to set the line numbers in VI editor by using colon set n. Let's talk about colon n. That will take you to the specific line. Suppose you are working on a file of 1000 lines and you have to go to line number 801. Then you can't go line by line to go to line number 801. It will take a lot of time. So that is where an interesting option is supported. First, let me enable the line numbers. So right now you can see that I'm at line number 3. I want to go to line number 1. Say colon 1. That will take me to line number 1. I want to go to line number 6. Colon 6. I want to go to line number 3. Colon 3. So this is very, very handy option again, especially if you're working on production systems. If your file size is huge, let's say 5000 lines, if you have to go to line number 4005, you can just say colon 4005. That will directly take you to that particular line. Very, very important option. Okay, guys. See, Linux is, especially VI editor, is very, very important in the industry, in the projects, in the interviews. The expectation is you should be already knowing VI editor, right? I know it is little bit tough, but if you practice 3-4 times, you should be able to get the things very easily. But this is very, very important. You cannot escape your career without learning VI editor. That is for sure. Okay. I would highly encourage you to practice at least this 3-4 times. That's the importance of VI editor. So let's talk about Linux files. So how to create an empty file in Linux. To create an empty file in Linux, I can use a command called as touch command. So right now, if you go and check on my desktop, I don't have any file apart from sample.txt. I'm going to create an empty file now by using touch command. Touch space a.txt, and this should have created an empty file for me on the desktop. So I can see that there is a file called as a.txt created. But now the question is, how can I say that this is an empty file? To figure out that this is an empty file, what you can do is you can right click on it, say properties. You can see the size it's showing as 0 bytes. So I can confirm that this is an empty file that has been created just now by using touch command. Now, can I create multiple empty files? Yes. Let's say I want to create b.txt, c, d.log. I'm trying to create totally 3 empty files now in a single shot. You can see that these 3 empty files have been created just now. So that's by using touch command, we have seen how to create an empty file. We have seen how to create multiple empty files as well. Now let's talk about cat command. So this cat command is again very important, and this is used quite a lot. So understand the syntax of this cat command. This cat command is used to add the contents to the files, right? And what you do is you say cat greater than symbol and then the file name, and then you try to add the content, and then say Control D to come out of that, and then go to the normal Linux terminal. So let me show you what I'm talking. So let us say that I wanted to basically clear my screen. So if you type clear command, that will clear the screen for you. Now I can say cat greater than file1.txt. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to create a new file with the name called as file1.txt. Hit enter. Here you should add the contents to that file. This is file1.txt. Enter. Then I have to type what? Control D to return to the command prompt or the Linux terminal. Control D. I have typed Control and D together, and I'm back to my normal terminal. If you go and check on your desktop, I can see that the file has been created just now. I can see the file. Right now, interestingly, you can see the file contents by using cat command. Again, you can see that they have got the output. Right. But now you must be wondering, okay, what is the difference between VI editor and cat command? See, cat command, I won't encourage you to use it for huge files, because the problem with cat is, let's say I want to create another file. I can say this is file2.txt, and I can say, let's say today is Friday, right? So I have some of these characters accidentally entered, but I went to my next line. Now I can't come back to the previous line and modify anything. If I use up arrow on my keyboard, you can see something weird is coming. So problem with cat command is you cannot go back and edit anything if you make any mistakes, right? So that's where to create the file, modifying the file, adding the content into the file, use only VI editor. I won't encourage you to use cat. But cat is interesting and you can use it whenever you wanted to basically check the contents of the files. Okay. So we have seen how to create the contents into the file by using cat command. Also, we have seen how to display the contents by using cat command. Let's talk about RM. So before talking about RM command, one caution. Always remember, whenever you're working on the production systems, you have to be very, very careful, because at least in Windows, if you delete something, you can go ahead and recover it or restore it by using recycle bin. But that's not the case in Linux. If you delete something, that's a permanent delete. You have to be very, very careful, especially while working on the project, and especially when you are using this specific command called as RM command. Because if you delete something, there is no way to recover it. But again, don't worry, there are some best practices that you can follow, using which you can still go ahead and use RM command. But for now, to start with, let's see how to use RM command. So first, let's go ahead and check the contents on the desktop. I have these files. Suppose I wanted to remove the file called as sample.txt. I can do that by using RM command. RM space sample.txt, enter. But you can see that it's asking me for the confirmation whether I have to delete it or not. Suppose if I say N, which is nothing but no, you will still have that file. If I go and check on the desktop, I can still see the file called as sample.txt. Right? Now if I try to run it again, now this time I will type Y, which is nothing but yes. If I go and check on the desktop now, I don't have that file. That's deleted. Right? Suppose let's say I wanted to remove two files at the same time. So I wanted to delete C as well as d.log. Let's see how to do that. RM space C and d.log, enter. So you can see that it's asking me for the confirmation every time. I don't want to see the confirmation every time. So to avoid seeing that confirmation message every time, you can see -F. F is nothing but forcefully removing it. So we are trying to forcefully remove two files at a time. Enter. This time it did not ask me for any confirmation. But if you go and check on the desktop now, I don't have those files. Those files are gone. Now I wanted to remove all these files for now. I can see a.txt, b.txt, file1.txt, and file2.txt. I want to remove all these files together in a single shot. If you see here, all these files have, there is something that is common. What is that? All these files are ending with .txt. I'm going to use the .txt, which we call it as extension. Extension is nothing but .txt here. We are going to remove all these files based on their extension. That is rm space -f star.txt. What is the meaning of this? Here star is nothing but wildcard character. That is, whatever may be the file name, if it is ending with .txt, then I'm going to remove all those files. Enter. If you go and check on the desktop now, I don't have any files. Right? So we have seen how to use RM command to remove a single file. We have seen how to remove multiple files. We have seen how to remove the files based on extension. Okay, we have seen how to remove the directories, right? In the previous session, I've spoken about this. So we can use either hyphen capital or smaller. It is actually used to remove the non-empty directories in Linux. Let's talk about CP command. But before that, I would like to ask if there are any questions till now. If there are any questions, please put your questions in the chat box. Any questions so far?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what's the difference between we can use rm-rf command too. So what is the difference between R and RF?
Okay. Yeah. So let's see that practically.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. So right now, yeah, I don't have any contents in my desktop. I'll create a directory again. So this command I've already used yesterday. So mkdir space -p. Let's say I wanted to create country. Country contains states. States contains districts. So right now, if I go and check on my desktop now, I have country created. Country contains states. States contain districts. So let's try using rm command. Let's try using rm command with -r. So, and then I wanted to remove country, right? So the intention here is to remove country along with its subdirectory, such as states should be deleted, district should be deleted. Along with that, country also should be deleted. So that's the expectation. If I hit enter now, you can see that I have to basically give a confirmation whether I have to delete it or not. Suppose if I say Y, it will again go ahead and ask me for states, right? If I go here, again it's going to ask me for my confirmation.
Yeah.
So you have to basically, it's going to take a lot of time and effort. If you are confident that you are deleting a correct directory, then I don't need to worry about giving this extension every time. So I can actually skip all that confirmations by using F. In this case, it will directly remove it without asking for a confirmation. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you, bro. I understood it now.
Cool. Yeah. So let's move on. So let's talk about CP. So CP is actually used to take a backup of a file. So the thumb rule in the IT world is never delete anything without taking any backup, right? Because you never know when you're going to need that file again. So always maintain a minimum of 6 months of backup, especially when you're working on the projects. Never delete something without taking any backup and keep it for at least 6 months, right? Because you never know when you're going to need it again. And again, remember, when you delete something, that's a permanent delete. So you have to be a little careful. And you can be careful by taking backup. And we can take backup of the files or directories by using CP command. So let's go here. So let's try to create some files on the desktop. So I don't have any files right now. I'll create a sample file by using touch command. Touch space, let's say file1.txt. I've created this empty file on my desktop right now. So you can open this file by using VEditor to edit the file. So this is sample, or let's say this is file1.txt. So this is file1.txt. I'll just save and come out of this file, and I should have this file available on my desktop. Now let's say that I wanted to delete this file, but I won't delete it unless I take a backup. So I'll say cp space file1, and my backup file name is file1_backup.txt. If you go and check on your desktop now, I have this backup file created now. Let me highlight that. This is the backup file that I've created. Now, if you go and check the contents of these two files, you should have the same content. That is, if you say cat file1.txt, sorry, not car, cat. So look at the contents of these two files. These two files are okay. Just a minute. Just give me a minute. You can see the contents of these two files are exactly same. So what I have done is I have taken a backup of this file called as file1.txt in the form of file1_backup.txt. Now I can happily go ahead and remove this file called as file1.txt, because anyways I've taken backup of this file, I will use this later on if required. I just have to rename this file later on. But always remember, never delete any file or any directory without taking any backup, and you have to keep it as a backup somewhere at least for 6 months. That is the thumb rule. Okay, so not only that, we can use copy command or cp command to copy the file into a directory, but I don't have any directories right now on my desktop. I'm going to create a directory, mkdir space d1 directory. If you go and check on your desktop now, I have the directory called as d1 created. So if you go and check inside d1, I don't have anything right now. I'm going to copy this file called as file1 underscore backup.txt into the directory called as d1. So let's do that. So cp space file1 underscore backup.txt, destination is d1. Go and check the directory d1. I can see the file called as file1 underscore backup.txt. Now, not only single file, you can copy multiple files as well. But I don't have multiple files. Let me create some files on my desktop. I'll use touch command again. a.txt, b, c.log, let's say d.txt. So I have created some files. Suppose let's say that I wanted to copy the files called as, let's say, c.log and d.txt into the directory called as d1. I can do that. So cp space c.log and d.txt into the directory called as d1. So I'm going to copy 2 files in a single shot into directory d1. If you go and check inside d1 now, I can see c.log and d.txt. And let me create one more directory, mkdir space text directory. So basically, this directory will contain only the text files. Right now it is empty, but the goal is to copy all the .txt files into this directory called as text directory. Let's see how to do that. cp space star.txt, that is, whatever may be the file name, if the file is ending with .txt, copy all those files into this directory called as text directory. If you go and check the text directory now, you can see that it contains only .txt files, nothing else. Right? So, and one more interesting thing is, let's say I wanted to delete this directory, text directory, but again, what have we learned? Never delete any file or any directory without taking any backup. So I'm going to create a backup directory for now. So how do you create a backup directory? So nothing much. So you just have to create the directory by saying mkdir space text directory underscore backup. This will be my backup directory name. If I go and check on the desktop now, I can see a directory called as text directory underscore backup. This is empty right now because the goal is whatever is there in the text directory, I have to copy everything into text directory underscore backup because I wanted to delete this directory called as text directory. So how to copy all the files? cp space text directory /star, that is, consider copying all the files from text directory into text directory underscore backup. We are copying all the files from text directory to text directory underscore backup. First, let's go and check in text directory underscore backup. I can see that it contains only text files now. Now I wanted to delete the original directory, which is nothing but this text directory, because anyways I took the backup here. So let's say how to remove this directory. Again, as it is a directory, if you go and type rmdir command, it won't work, because the reason is that is not an empty directory. Rmdir command works only if the directory is empty. This is where I'm going to use rm with -rf option. So I have already shown how to use rm with -rf. I'll try with -R now. Both are same. R is meant for recursively deleting the contents. Enter. Now, if you go and check on your desktop, I don't have the text directory. It was supposed to be here, but it's gone. It's not there. But anyways, we have the backup directory available here. We can use this later on if required. The point which I want to convey here is never delete any file or any directory without taking any backup. That is very, very important, and you can do so by using cp command. So we have seen how to copy the files into the directory, and we have seen how to copy multiple files into the directory, and we have seen how to copy the files based on extension as well. Right? We have seen how to copy the files from one directory to other directory also. So I think I want to talk about MV, but I think we are good for today because I don't want to overload with heavy information. The main thing that you have to take out from today's session is VI editor, right? So focus more on VI editor, practice 3-4 times, get a hang of it. That is really important. Okay, as I told, we will gradually increase the session duration by 5 minutes. So that's all for today. We will again meet on Monday. Monday, same time, same meeting link. Okay, that's all for now. Before closing the session, anybody have any questions? Please put your question in the chat box. Any questions, guys? We'll meet on Monday. Okay, if there are no questions, then let's meet on Monday then. See you. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.